Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really cool way of understanding what makes us tick. And no, this isn't about some rigid personality test that puts you in a box. Think of it more like a map for personal growth, a way to see where you are on your own journey and maybe get a glimpse of what's up ahead. So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with why we even bother classifying people in the first place. Then we'll journey through four really distinct archetypes: the aimless wanderer, the cunning climber, the grounded giver, and wrap up with the wise observer. Let's get right into it. But before we go any further, just a quick question for you. Have you ever really stopped to think about what the engine behind your actions is? What are you actually chasing every day? This whole framework is really designed to help you start answering that for yourself. Okay, a super important note before we really get going. This is not about slapping labels on yourself or anyone else. Seriously. Think of these stages as landmarks on a big map of personal growth. It's just a tool to help you understand the journey and maybe pinpoint where you're standing right now. Our first landmark on the map is a place I think many of us have been at some point: a state of confusion without any real clear direction. This is the stage of the aimless wanderer. So what's it like to be in this stage? Well, your inner world is kind of at the mercy of whatever's happening outside. Without that internal compass, you're just tossed around by praise, by criticism, by whatever the world throws at you. Your happiness completely depends on things you can't control. This quote just nails the experience, doesn't it? It's a life that's lived in reaction, not by intention. You know, happiness feels like a temporary sunny spell, and failure feels like a personal hurricane, and you have absolutely no control over any of it. So eventually, being aimless just gets old. That frustration of wandering around often pushes people to find a direction, any direction, and that often leads right to our next stage, a determined climb toward a goal that is crystal clear. But it's a goal that's been set by the outside world. And here's the huge shift. You go from having no goal to having very specific, very tangible ones. Suddenly, life becomes a game with a really clear scoreboard: money, status, reputation. The objective is simple: win. This one idea, wow, it pretty much captures the climber's entire worldview. People, ideas, even your own morals, they're all just tools. They're useful if they help you climb, and you toss them aside if they don't. The only thing that matters is getting to the top. When you put them side by side like this, the evolution is just crystal clear. It's a massive shift from being confused and directionless to having this laser focus on winning society's game. The wanderer is reactive, but the climber is on the attack, trying to conquer the world. But what happens when you finally get to the top of that mountain and you realize it's kinda empty? That hollow feeling after years and years of climbing can spark a huge, pivotal turn. A journey away from the self and back toward community. This stage represents a massive pivot from me to we. Value isn't found in personal gain anymore. It's found in the strength of your relationships. The focus shifts entirely to building a stable, meaningful life that's rooted in family, friendship, and your community. And this comparison just highlights that dramatic pivot. The climber is always asking, what's in it for me? But the giver starts asking, how can we help each other? The whole source of happiness shifts from winning and getting praise to just genuine human connection. This whole journey culminates in our final stage. Now, it's a state that not everyone reaches, but it represents a really profound level of understanding and just transcending the day-to-day. This is the stage of the wise observer. And we're not just talking about being book smart here. This is about a fundamental change in how you see everything. It's almost like you can see the machinery behind the world, the patterns in human behavior, the laws of nature, all with this deep sense of clarity and calm. Just look at the values here. They're completely intangible, right? You can't buy inner peace. You can't earn understanding the essence of things like a promotion. These are states of being. And from this perspective, the whole game the climber was playing, it just seems kind of pointless. This quote really gets at that deep inner peace. It's a peace that comes from seeing the big picture, way beyond the daily dramas that eat up the other stages. There's a quiet confidence that's born from this level of deep understanding. So, after going through all of this, where do you see yourself in this journey? Where do you see yourself in this journey? This last chart isn't about fitting you neatly into a box.
Think of it as a mirror, a way to help you reflect on your own unique path.
You know, seeing the whole progression laid out like this is pretty powerful. You can clearly trace the evolution of what a person values, from basically nothing to external goals to human connection, and finally to inner wisdom. Each stage is almost a natural reaction to the limits of the one that came before it.
So, look, the main takeaway here isn't to judge where you are. We all pass through these stages in our own way, at our own pace. The real power is just in knowing you have a map. And so, the most important question isn't where are you now, but which direction are you going to choose to walk next? Thanks for joining this explainer.